intentions were, right? And I'm assuming, Josh, you take it the same way with your VAs. But welcome to the call, Josh. Like I just like to learn how you're attracting these agents. If you've done anything differently in a market shift, and if I dropped you in a different country, because Lauren's going to have some questions for you, what you would do differently. And let's kick this bad boy off. So welcome to the call,
Yeah,
Josh.
sure. Thanks for the invite. So well, yeah, I mean, I do a lot of stuff. I'm not currently using a VA. I was using one for a little while to make phone calls, and
Okay.
it was just kind of a numbers game, right? You would have them call until they got someone that was open-minded to talk to me, and then I would talk to them, and then I would present or whatnot. But no, I do everything. So like, I look back at everyone I've brought in and where they came from. I wear an EXP shirt to every training event I go to. I go to as many trainings as I can. Like the Title Company Lunch and Learns. That's where I met the guy I brought from Real.
Hold on, tell that story real quick. How did you
sure.
put somebody from Real? Because I think Real's taking EXP agents, right? Like what?
Yeah.
How'd
So
that go?
I went to a lunch and learn at a title company. I was wearing an EXP shirt, and I started talking to this guy. And I sat next to him, and he was, asking me about EXP and whatnot. And he was at Real, and I asked him about revenue share. I was like, "Oh, you guys get revenue share? You doing good there?" He's like, I haven't really focused on it a whole lot. It's like, "Oh, I focus on revenue share. That's what I love it." And he's like, I told him how many people I brought in over the last like month or whatnot. And he's like, "Well, that's crazy." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm happy to show you how it works and stuff like that." And then he started, asking how it worked. And I kind of ghosted him for a little while. And then I reached out and I said, "Hey, I've been researching Real. Are you open to, getting on a call and going over pros and cons?" And he says, "Yeah, of course," because his lights lit up that he's going to recruit me. And so he got his team leader on the Zoom call with us. The dude was, higher up. He had quite a few people at Real, like 1,000 or something. He was really high up. And I, before the call, I planned and I reached out to my entire upline, and I got everyone's dashboard pictures, and I put them together on a little slideshow to show what happens over time at EXP and how your 6th and your 7th levels, in fact, all the levels lower down are the ones that are bigger. It's a triangle, right? And Real's system is an upside down triangle where your first line pays the most, second line pays less, third line pays less, fourth line pays less, fifth line only pays 1%. There's no 6th or 7th line. Whereas if you look at like Brent's tree, his 6th and 7th line are more than half of his entire line. And so you're missing out on massive money there, like a ton of it. And so when I showed him that, it put like mad doubt into the dude's head. And I just kind of was picking whenever the Real guy would present, I would pick at it, like, "Oh, poke. Oh, EXP does it like this. Oh, you guys, oh, no, we do it like this." And I put enough doubt in him that he joined EXP. And so, yeah, he joined, he's in the system now. But yeah, I focus on
So
everything.
so I like it, man. So he was able just to flip, and there's no doubt around it. If I had to choose a 5% difference in my override or my split versus having the 6th and 7th level, I'm going to choose the 6th and 7th level, like without a doubt, like over and over again. And so it's interesting. Once a month, obviously part of that alpha group, the top 50, modern team builders or network builders get on weekly with corporate once a week, but once a month we break down, it could be a random company, and the financial guys break it down. And so it isn't like slighted towards sales or emotions or opinions. It's like breaks down financially everything about that companies that they're acquiring, what's going on with them, like everything financially, like all their value propositions, everything. And it's pretty interesting call. And when we broke Real down and I looked at Real, and this was going into this was the 4th quarter of last year. And I really don't want to talk about Real too much, but it is what it is. It's just relative to your situation and that being pretty cool. And when I looked at Real's numbers, my business is more profitable every single month than their business. And we are bringing in, just with the Adam Bailey Listing Network Top Agent Experts Network, more people every single month than Real is bringing in, right?
Yeah.
And the amount of debt that they have and that they're carrying and how they're structured and moving forward. And I will say this, I was in a mastermind in Puerto Rico in January, where they got all the alphas together physically and with Glenn, and we had to, make some decisions and do some things. And it was pretty interesting to watch Glenn make some of the decisions that were in the agent's favor versus a lot of the alphas there. It was like they wanted a different vote, put it that way, right? Like the room was torn or whatever. And Glenn said this company was created for the agents and it's ran by the agents, and all of the decisions that I have to come in and make or be the tiebreaker will always be for the agent. Never for the investor, never for the owners, never for the team leaders to make more money, never to offset some things on their balance sheet. It will always be for the agents. And I said, and I watched that and I was like, that's interesting, because this guy was taking a lot of heat for like 2 days. And this was a vote like where he could have easily vote and would have sufficed that group right there. Right. And it would have solved a lot of problems in terms of like problems or issues or constraints that we're all solving, right? And it's like even every week we're looking at new problems and solving and things like that. And I was like, man, that's awesome. And then he mentioned Real, and he said, look, he's like, companies that are copying us and that old guard that was here, they couldn't grow with EXP because of certain limiting beliefs, or they were let go, right? And that was kind of what started Real, was the old guard or disgruntled or whatever. And he's like, if they couldn't grow with us when we started this thing for whatever reason, what makes you think that they're going to be able to do it over there? And he's like, financially, when investors own 90% of your company and you're carrying the debt that you carry, right? And investors are making the decision when he has to make tough decisions like that. And he said, and the very first meeting I was ever in was a sustainable plan, almost 3 years ago, the sustainable equity plan, right? Or the sustainable model, right? And he made changes and we made changes. And that's when people were like, oh, they're making changes. It's not going to work, blah, blah, blah. EXP at that time, it was in 2019. It was my first alpha mastermind or not, whatever, that I'd physically been in. It was the first time I'd ever heard Glenn speak in person. It's the first time I'd ever seen him in person. And I'm in this group and watching these guys hash all of these things out and make these tough decisions. And I was like, man, like that's crazy. And then, he's like, I'm making decisions that is going to at least get this company sustainable for 10 to 15 more years. And then we will deal with it then, decade is a long time. And so he's like, and then he mentioned it in this last meeting that I was in, that I'm talking about in Puerto Rico, that meeting. And he said, when Real has to make these decisions, Real has to make decisions because of the money, and Real will have to make changes to their model as they grow. It's just inevitable. He's like, but who are they going to make changes for when you're owned 90% by investors or 10% by agents? He's like, the agents still own 50% of this company. And if I have to come in and be a tiebreaker, it's always going to be for the agents. So that's kind of awesome. So I like hearing that, and so you can play the long game with the different value with the 5 to 7 levels, or you just give me 5% on more of my deals, and there will be other overhead and other things added to their model just because as they grow, it'll be inevitable. But I can send you guys that report, or send that to you, Josh, if you like. But good job on that. And yeah, and I was just shocked by like our group, you, Josh, all the people on here, everybody part of Top Agent Experts. Like, we are bigger than Real. We're more profitable than Real. We're bringing in more people every single month than Real. I don't know what, since the market shifted, our numbers were down a little bit. We added 114 agents when I posted the last Building an Empire results. But you're doing everything yourself now. You did have a VA. So maybe get kind of into Lauren's question. I believe maybe he can do a follow-up question to this, because I want to get to that. What does your scripting look like? What is your intro? What does your word track look like? What is your offer to them? To start meeting.
I still do the system, right? You got the 3-step system. You have find someone open-minded, show them a video, and then close them, essentially, whether that's yourself or with the help of one of you guys. I do close a lot my own, mainly because I get a lot of new agents or agents that are less experienced. And I have a lot of experience on the sales side. And so I have that as an easy close, essentially. So as far as finding people that are open-minded, that's where it's just like online. It's just like leads for sales. You have leads from online sources, you have social media, you got cold calling, you got referrals, you got in-person events, and I do it all. And so like even everything I do, I try to think, how can I spin this? And it's like even on my phone, I don't know if you can see this. So my top 9, if you have an iPhone, 8 of them are agents that are not with EXP. And so I'm talking to people that are my friends that are not at EXP. I'm not even talking about EXP to them. I just stay in touch with them.
Right.
And make sure they know I'm at EXP. And then I scour Facebook. I've gotten multiple people from Facebook where I, you see the posts. It'll be on like real estate mastermind or whatever. It'll be like someone asking about EXP, and there'll be like 150 comments.
Right.
And I don't comment. I go straight to the inbox, and I talk and I send them a video. And then you've got what else? Referrals. Every time I do a deal, and not just a deal, anytime someone shows my property, anytime I show someone else's property, I am ruthless. I will talk to them about EXP. I went and showed a home yesterday. It was an agent to meet property, one of those big fuckers. And I go in there, and the agent's in there, and I'm talking to him, sitting down, and we're talking about growth. I'm like, oh, you got a team? You got 8 agents? I had a team with 8 agents when I was at KW. Now I'm going more a bigger growth trajectory, following the feet of people that have thousands of agents. And he's like, I don't really know much about teams. And I was like, well, I'd love to, show you. And so just stuff like that. Like everyone I talk to, even on showing time, like, I don't know if you're familiar with showing time, if you guys have that.
Yeah.
Whenever someone requests a showing on one of my listings, in the instructions or the agent remarks, whenever they request a showing, is a link to a video about EXP and a link to schedule a call with me. So there's that. Whenever anyone I talk to has any sort of interaction regarding, joining EXP, they actually go on a text message drip campaign, which I put up through KV Core. And in that drip campaign, it starts off once a week. They get a text message, and it trails off. It goes like once a week for, I think, the first month. Then it goes every 2 weeks. Then it goes once a month. And it's stuff about EXP. It's not like everything all at once. It's just like, hey, did you know we have healthcare? Hey, did you know that 198 agents at EXP earned over $1 million in commission last year? Hey, this, that, and the other. And I have a link every other message to my Calendly account. And I have somewhere between 5 and 10 different Calendly links for the same type of meeting, which is just a 20-minute phone call, but I'm tracking them all differently, so I know the source. So if someone clicks the link in my text message campaign and they schedule a call with me, I can see that source was the follow-up campaign. Or if someone clicks a link on one of my YouTubes or TikTok or Instagram Calendly links, I can see that it was from social media. And so I'm trying to track the source because I'm doing everything, like literally everything.
Okay, so let's unpack a couple of those things. I have some questions. Hey, by the way, I just learned something off showing time, and I'm going to go back. I actually have some training tomorrow with one of my Wichita group. When her team is hitting me up, and I'm going to talk. I will talk about that, and then I'll tell some of my agents in Wichita. I didn't know that you could go in there and edit that and put an actual video in there and your
there's private remarks. You can do it
right in the private remarks. That's awesome, man. So how many actually come through the showing time like that, or even ask?
I don't think I've had anyone yet.
It's just another net though, and it sounds like from what you're saying, like you don't have just one pillar, right? You have a bunch of different nets feeding into your funnel. So, and then I have a follow-up question with the calendar stuff, and then specifically to outbound approach being one of them. It sounds like obviously you have a lot of nets, but I want to ask the question about a follow-up net so when you have these 9 different calendars, right, and they create different links, I actually have domains like masking those links. Do you have a domain also masking that, or like that, or you just,
No,
okay.
no,
So,
I don't. So I name it slightly differently. So it's like the link is like www.calendly.com/Josh/exp or exp1 or exp2 or um, the Marriott group or something like that. They're all a little bit different. But I'm not masking the link. People can actually see the link.
okay. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. For me, like a lot of you guys have been on my calendar before, to get on my calendar, it's adamlivechat.com. Right.
Yeah, that's
And
pretty cool. So you have like you got the domain and then you just routed the domain to a particular link.
well, I actually, to get the imagery working right, like if you guys just go to adamlivechat.com, you'll see a picture of me at the top, and then it'll be the calendar at the bottom. So what I did was Calendly or whatever is just a landing page. It's boring. It's simple. It's just right there. Now I went to GoDaddy and I just bought a domain name, right? And then I went in there and connected the two, so I could just tell people go to adamlivechat.com, right? It's simple, right? What you guys should be doing for buyers and sellers or whatever, have a calendar tied to the bottom of your email or your offers, or whatever, in your video series, where people can schedule, like the express offers process. If you guys have seen some of that with me, and I dropped the video in the group, they will go through the home evaluation process, right? And then schedule the listing appointment on your calendar, right? Instead of having to go back and forth with them. So yeah, it's like that. And then I tied it into CRM Grow when Gary, we were getting set up in there, and I connected my calendar. I didn't like having like the two different calendars, and then I uploaded an image, and then I was like figuring out how to basically upload PDFs and content, not just the video piece to it, right? And how we're going to use it, because we've been building out a lot of that, and like I literally been all in with CRM Grow and got like 30 videos in there and a bunch of documents and different things. And then when I saw that I could wire my Calendly account with the imagery and it drops down, it just looked better. And when I showed Gary that, he's like, oh yeah, this looks slick, right? So pretty much tied those two together with the domain. But with tracking with that, that's what I was trying to see, if you went out and bought different domain names, or if you're just masking it with
I'm
that
just
same.
tracking it on Calendly directly. So whenever I see it on my calendar, I can see which link they clicked on essentially.
What's the cost? I mean, I can't remember for
Calendly, it's like
you can
I
create
think
as
I
many
pay
calendars.
$12 a month because I have the advanced version that has text message notifications.
Right.
I think it's $9 if you're just doing email notifications. But for an extra $3 a month, they will text them. I have them text 24 hours before and 1 hour before the meeting.
Yeah.
And then I wish you would text me too, because sometimes I forget and I'm late or I skip
Right.
it.
Right.
Because like I see them on my calendar, but if I'm not paying attention, I'll miss one, or be late.
All right. I like it. So guys, some cool stuff. Like now with the one pillar that Lauren was wanting to know about. I'm gonna ask this one question, and then if you don't mind, I'll let Lauren kind of take it from here with some follow-up questions. So the outbound approach to it. You're an outbound guy. Even when you hit me up, like it was for an outbound approach, and how you've done a lot of fantastic things to be the top recruiter in the nation at KW, and you're doing wonderful things with top agent experts, and we're blessed to have you. But it sounds like you've done a lot of outbound over the years, and
Yeah,
done
I use
different scripts.
Mojo.
Right. The Mojo is one thing. The tech is another. The data sources is obviously kind of important too. But like, if you're going to call someone cold, like this is kind of what Lauren's getting at. You a stranger,
What did he
right?
say?
Yeah. Like, what are you calling and saying a stranger? Like, is it like, are you, like, yeah, like, what are you
So
saying?
I'm
What are you
I'm
talking
straight
about?
up. So I straight up get straight to the point. Hey, this is Josh. I'm home with EXP Realty. How you doing today? I'm like, oh, I'm doing fine. How are you? I'm like, I love life. Thanks for asking. Just real quick, I was just curious if you're open-minded about your brokerage options. And that's it. That's the opening. Are you open-minded about your brokerage options? And if they say no, click next.
Yep. So I'm taking the approach where we're surveying them, looking for constraints or things, the number one problem in their business, or, if they had a magic wand, what's the one thing that, they would change.
So what do
Right.
you? I saw your script. You sent it
Yep.
to me. Are you still
No,
using
no,
your?
no, that isn't mine. That is Smart Setter stuff of how
Oh,
they're setting appointments for Gary and I. So I pay that company $4,000 a month right now, and they are feeding my funnel and it's working, right? And so there it's I because CRM Grow is just CRM Grow. And you guys know I use a tracked ROI and a track link for the inbound piece, and I feed data in that way, but also needed to feed more data across CRM Grow. And so an outbound approach, not just the inbound approach, was the piece that I added to it. And we'll be feathering in some other things with, scrubbing our own data and doing some things like that. But we're not there yet. We have a lot of other fires. And, like when Gary joined with us, like he just jumped in full force and to a full blown operation, just moving and grooving. So like we will get there, but yeah, go ahead. Like what about a point smart setter that you wanted to reference from that?
oh, I was just curious if that was the script you're using. So you just have the company making outbound calls,
Yeah,
uh,
yep.
and then they're just calling indiscriminately agents. Or you guys filtering or targeting?
I have an avatar set up with them, and I have a target market that we're hitting for sure. I mean, like they've got us on calls with ballers. I mean, people doing
Really?
200-300 closings. I mean, yeah, like it's so it's just
So
us.
what is your ROI on it so far? You say you're spending $4,000 a month. I mean,
I,
your ROI is
I'm not
obviously
what
different.
what is an ROI for a frontliners
Yeah,
when I'm leaving right now about 250 300
yeah.
grand on the
Yours is a
table.
little bit different,
Like
right?
my ROI, I don't give a shit about a ROI right now. Like my ROI is just one, right? One
Yeah,
frontliner. Like I need to get level 6 unlocked again because this was the first year that I ever had real turnover on my front line in 4 years.
yeah,
Like in 4 years, I might have had that one guy, Chris, leave. He needed to be on a team actually in Tennessee and like tried to build his own team. And so he hopped back on the team with the guy who used to coach, and he just couldn't make it on his own. And there was no teams in EXP really. So he
yeah.
went back and a couple, ISAs in the network, husband and wife teams. But I unlocked level 6 way fast, early, like I had 20, like over 25, like right before I even like busted like 150. Cause I went back and I'm looking at all my numbers cause I'm putting together a time video. Right. And so I've been looking at all of it. And so I needed to figure out
I see.
duplication. Right.
Yeah.
And now I figured out duplication and tap routing and brought building and empire systems and all these things to the network. But now I needed to focus back on my business in terms of frontline business, right? And
What
so
um, what is it costing you to get a frontline agent right now about using that system?
we just launched Smart Setter and all of that. So
That's so new.
I don't know. We have a bunch of people on the fence. I started them the same time Gary came in. So Gary's been here a couple months, but what I
Okay.
will tell you, we have a bunch of people on the fence. We're speaking with people daily, and I'm gonna be up there running an event. And yeah, like without a doubt, it's gonna pay off like tenfold for
Yeah.
sure. It's like
Yeah. I
it's
was
like
just curious
it's like if
if
we
you had
hold
my
on, if
number
it's
yet.
like no, the problem is me. So when you look at like how we have the funnel set up, the problem is me. So at first they okay, can you fill the top of the funnel? So when they gave me their metrics or whatever their brand promise is, and when I looked at numbers, because they had someone call me, and it's like I told you, I said I don't do that. I do things differently, and here's everything that I do to build. And she's like, you're doing everything. She's like, you're maximizing everything, like anyone that runs a top business like you is doing. She's like, have you looked at this? I said I would never do anything like that. And then she said, well, so and so and so and so and so and so does this. And I was like, oh, really? I was like, how do you know them? And then she's like, well, I got your number from somebody. She wouldn't tell me. And she's like, I'm on a call with you for a reason. And I said, oh, really? And she's like, yeah, I know exactly what place you're in with your team and everything with EXP. And then because I was about to get off the phone with her, like I do with all them people that call me. And
Yeah.
then, so that created some curiosity with me. And so I wanted to know how she knew this stuff and wouldn't tell me. So then I said, all right, I'm going to give you 1 hour. So I set up 1 hour with her. I said, I want to see analytics and I want to see numbers and different stuff. So then she showed me a bunch of stuff and I said, that's interesting. And then I said, show me the other people. She's like, I can't show you their numbers, but I can just tell you this. And then I said, well, can I reach out to them? And she's like, well, I need to probably tell them first because it's client, confidentiality and things like that. So I hit a few people up and they're like, yeah, it's just one pillar, blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah. I
So
know
yeah.
you're.
So then here's what I told her. I said, if you can deliver on half of the shit that you tell me that you can deliver on, it would be worth it. I said, but I want control, and I want to be able to control things and do things differently than what you're telling me you can do. And she's like, we can't do that. And I said, well, we can't do business then. So she went back to the owner of the company. He made some modifications, and he came back, and we created a plan that's not even on their sheet. Right. And so we kicked off with them. They started off good. We ran into some problems. I had to modify a bunch of stuff, and then we started doing well. Then Gary came into the picture right at that time. So I was turning things over to him. And so, yes, we've had to make changes to the top of the funnel. We've had to make changes to the bottom of the funnel because everything has been different. And then the bottom of the funnel, we're getting opportunities. And then we start having problems in the middle of the funnel again. So we had to go back and make some tweaks and changes to it to really streamline it. And so now we're at the bottom of the funnel again, and we're actually about to make another change, some more changes to it. Right. But what I do believe in is they're getting us in front of people. What I do believe in is we're building a database. What I believe in is we're getting opportunities. It's kind of like if you're a team and you're generating leads or whatever for a new agent, or, a new agent that just jumped on your team or whatever, but they're messing the process up, or, you're getting an agent in front of people, but they're not closing business, but you could close them, right? Because the system and how we introduce them to information has been different. So we were giving them wrong information at the wrong time, expecting the same result, right? And so it's a whole nother system I'm designing and building out, and it's in a new country, right? And not a new country. It's in Toronto. So it's like EXP is just getting going, and there's a lot of blowback, just like it was early on with us. And so there's highways, there's tolls, like we've built the roads, like my company, a lot of other companies, you guys are building yours, it's done, right? We're improving on it. In Toronto, we are just chopping down trees and laying gravel down and dirt roads and all that, and hoping to come back and lay pavement to be able to lay a highway. And then it will turn into a toll booth, right? But we're doing the hard stuff right now. And so a lot of them I'll give you one example. A lot of them on 95.5, right? So, right, if we give them Brent Go's video and they see the 80-20, they're out right then and there. And then in terms of how they understand net profitability versus splits is different. So
there's splits in Toronto are better in general,
but they don't have caps. They don't understand caps really. So it's like,
they're lower, and then the desk fees, it's known for that. And caps are very uncommon, except with Keller Williams, but they're like a lower.
But KW isn't big up there. So what I'm saying, Josh, is like how they look at it and how I have to educate them. It's different, right? Because even with they make a lot of money because their average sales price is so high, so they can sell 5 houses, 10 houses, and then like that's good year to them, right? And so
they can sell 4. They can sell 4 because they're all about GCI.
Yeah,
I'm feeling good making 100K.
Anyways, so when you enter into things in terms of like psychology is different, the environment's different, like not just market different, right? It's like, okay, so then we have to start testing things, like, and then we are also recruiting for our team up there, like a team I have ownership in, and ISAs, and we have leads being taken. And Josh, here's when I had the aha where I'm like, we got to make some major changes and trust building and other things like that. When I had a guy that was doing a couple of deals, one deal, a veteran agent, COVID shut his ass down. We have leads, we have business, we have everything, and willing to give it to him, not ask for anything in his business once he gets going again, if he'll service it, and we'll help him build his business. Anybody that knows what's up would say, without a doubt, I'll take you up on that to at least get some money turning over. You hand me up some appointments, we'll figure money out, and you're not going to ask for any of my deals or whatever and help me get going again. And he wanted to get going, right? And then he let stock prices slightly drop, kind of affect the conversation right before the shareholders event. And that was shocking to me and alarming. And then when I'm on a call with the guy, whether he's going through the process genuinely or not, or trying to, like, even when we start stealing agents up there, like we got Ron, had 300 agents at Royal LePage. He came to one of my events to poke holes in it because I was swiping his agents. So he was coming to like combat it, right? Come up with a rebuttal, figure out like what's up. And then he ended up joining a year later. It worked on it for a year. So some of these people will go through the process looking at it. But once I figured out this guy's numbers, I didn't see the actual P&L or whatever. And he didn't know exactly where our costs were at. He just thought he had a good deal. And I was being very conservative and saving this guy around just off basic numbers, right? Around $400,000 a year if he did not grow, if he just continued to do the same thing that he currently was doing, and it would provide more value to his agents and obviously with the stock. And he wouldn't even get on another Zoom call with me. And this is like his third meeting, right? To take another Zoom call to see visually where I could show him where that money is at. So if I got somebody that can't sell a fucking house, we want to even look at how to take leads and do other things, and save another person $400,000. That is alarming to me. So there's a trust issue, right? That's a given right there with those. So then I step back and look at, how we were using the video, how like this new system, the new outbound system was going, because we have an ISA influencing it, right? Then we have Gary influencing it, then the ISA kind of influencing it, and then they're getting to me.
What's Gary doing?
Let me tell you. Well, he's taking the intro calls, because the intro calls only need to be 5 minutes, right? In terms of, we're looking for missed opportunities in their business, focus on production with them, right? Things that they would like to add to their business or constraints that they're having. It's a production call. However, they also know that, there is some type of feeling in the air that I'm going to be pitch coaching, training, or be asked to join, a different brokerage or team, right? That thought is there, and they bring it up, but we always lead with the value and we never bring it up. But if they're getting to me, right, and they might cancel or not show up or whatever, and Gary's going to have about a 50% show up ratio. And so what I like that we've been doing now, because we're having a lot of cancellations on the discovery call, when he thought he had good call with them, he thought, he understands what they're trying to do or whatever, we were dropping the video on them too soon. They don't need to see the video before they get to me, right? So there's just a lot of things, or maybe they do need to see it. And so just making them judgment calls were tougher. And then like he did that we found success with this week. Hold on, let me finish this out real quick to tell you this one change. So on that intro call, right? Now, instead of just going and like, hey, you're gonna be meeting Adam, like everybody keeps talking about Adam, but I don't never get to meet Adam yet. And I took my third step through something to meet Adam. And it's like, oh, I can get him on the call right now. So he calls me just to say hi. And let me tell you where it's at, because I have to have tough talk with these people, and I have to do a lot of negative reversing. And I had to do it yesterday. I'd like with the guy that I told you guys, I had to pretty much punch in the nose. There's no way that negative reverse would have worked yesterday and keeping his attention or respect if I didn't talk to him the day before. So Gary had talked to him, whatever. Adam's just going to say hi, even though you guys are going to meet him, or you're going to meet him tomorrow. I just want you to hear his voice, him to say hi. And, I can get him on the phone right now. Right. So Gary called me, boom, made the intro. I talked to him for just a couple of minutes. I told him where I could see where I could add value, where I know that his issues at, and he agreed with me. That's the game plan for tomorrow that we're going to talk about tomorrow then. So I don't have to figure it out tomorrow. We already know what it is tomorrow, right? And then when he hopped on, he changed the game plan. But if I just hopped on there and he was negative or standoffish and saying like what he was saying, like I couldn't hit him with a negative reverse, because I could hit him with a negative reverse. Like I didn't think we were doing that. I thought it was about this. No, what is your problem? That ain't true, by the way, but what is your problem? Like, cause we had like, this wasn't what we agreed to yesterday. This isn't the same energy you had yesterday. Like, right. And hold him accountable to that, and then work him through that. So anyways, that's like making little changes like that in terms of trust, influence, connection. And I know this, it's about it's like what I teach with the buyers and sellers, guys, getting them the right information at the right time through the cash conversion cycle, which is 9 to 15 months, right? We know that with the agent attraction side, even with the builders and people like me, it's a year to a year and a half. It took me a year and a half, right? Most of my big deals have taken a year and a half. And if you gave me the wrong information, like everyone else did, I'm going to say no, but I'm still interested. I'm going to keep looking. I'm just going to find who can get me the right message at the right time to solve my problem, right? My problem. Cause I had a real problem, and I didn't give a shit about rev share. I didn't care about stock, even though I understood it, because I cashed out all my Aflac stock. And that's how I got into real estate. And you were awarded equity that way as well. I didn't care about KV Core because I already ran KV Core, right? Or I ran Boomtown, right? And Boomtown was a superior product. in terms of team building, right? Even though KV Core is a great single agent product, it's a great small to mid team product, right? So there's just a lot of things I was missing with the business solution tools inside of enterprise that no one could actually show me. So things like that, Josh. And so that we're making changes to it, but I believe in Gary and I believe in myself. And every time we make tweaks, we find a little more success. We move it down, down the field a little more. But what I will say is, being 2 months into this with Gary, or 2.5 months into it, whatever we're into it, like we have a lot of great results and a big database being built and a lot of relationships where people are interested. And when I go back up there to run an event, the last time I ran an event there, we had a bunch of people at all 3 of those events. Like the first couple of events, we had 2 people show up to each one of them. My last time I was there right for COVID, it was 40, 50 people. Right. And so it's like now we have real people to catch up with, real people that's interested, and real people that's going to show up to the event and see what's true or what isn't in terms of social proof. So yeah, like, is it worth the investment? Yes. Is there an ROI to it? I don't care about an ROI, because right now, if you ask me, Josh, what would I pay for 22 active agents right now? I'd probably give you 100 grand for 20. I'd probably give 200 grand if somebody came to me and wanted to sell me a team of 20 agents or 25 agents. And they're all FLQAs, right? And they're just going to move up under me. I would give them 150, 200 grand right now. What, like, you asked for ROI? That's, to me, I don't know.
I know what you mean.
I don't know yet.
What I meant more was like, just for our knowledge, like, how much does it cost to get some? You don't know these numbers yet, but it would be nice to know eventually.
I had no cost tied to that. Zero. I had no cost tied to this pillar to the business until this year. Zero. Yeah. I was spending last year maybe $700 a month, if that. I had no cost tied to that pillar. I'm one of the most profitable people I know running in this model. Like, yeah. So, but yes, I'm carrying real costs for sure. Yes, now, and other things and doing other stuff. So, but it's like, I also have to play the long-term investment, like a long-term game. Like, I have to actually do database building. I have to make more friends. I have to create better relationships with new people. I have to help other people grow their business, like Matt, Tierney, all these people close to me that you guys seen explode and grow and big with us now. At one point in time, they're blowing me up every day. I'm on the phone with them till 12 o'clock at night. We're working on projects, putting out real fires. Now I look around, I'm like, man, like, I'm dealing with other projects and other people that need me. And now I need to rinse and repeat with new frontliners again, because I'm helping the network, and I found out duplication, or I figured out duplication. I brought that here. We got everybody on building an empire systems, and we're all growing for the most part, for everybody taking action, right? And solving problems. But now I need to do it again with a whole another set of 20 people, because I'm leaving right now. Somebody, Gary, will you do some math for me? Will somebody take 300 and I actually had the number here. I got it pulled up here on the spreadsheet. 300. Let me go back here and look it up real quick.
Don't forget about my list of questions now, Adam.
Yeah. No, you're gonna end with them.
Man, I have so many questions too, but I got
well, as you guys can see, the outbound stuff is just one little question to his stuff, and I'm going to answer his question. But so, but in terms of what it is to me, just on straight up value, it's right here, just straight value, Josh, to answer your question. I'm supposed to be interviewing you, not the other way around, but
we're getting way off track. It's
no. So I'm going to answer Josh's question, because this is a valid question, and he hit it with a follow-up, and there isn't an ROI that we can attach to it because of the long game, but I'm going to give you the straight value off of it, or what it's costing me right now.
Yeah, that's what I was curious about, is
how much money is it costing me right now?
FLQ for an FLA.
So take 492 and times that by 600. So around $300,000 a year is what I'm losing, and what it's worth to me, just on, and I'm growing by what, 6-7% every single month, profitability and agent count. So right there, I'm losing $300,000 a year, and that compounds by 6% every single month. That's why I told Gary
FLQA is worth,
and that's why, why Gary, we're coaching, we're doing a lot of things, but I'm like, if we drop down below 6, I've never dropped below that, because I've always just been there and never had any turnover. It's like, I have a $300,000 problem. And if we drop even below level 5, because I'm at 22, we will not be doing anything else but agent attraction, making calls, presenting. We will be doing everything that ISAs are doing, everything, because that becomes a weakness in your business. You start to actually exploit your business at that time. Like it becomes a problem. Like, and it is a problem right now because I've always had level 6 unlocked. Now I'm not getting paid on 300 and some agents that I was, and carrying more costs and doing more. And so it's up to us to figure it out. But when I look at what Smart Setter's doing, when I look at what Gary's doing, everybody's doing what they need to be doing. When I look at what I'm doing it. I've been up like every night till 4 or 5 in the morning. You can ask my girlfriend right here. I'm at the lake for the last month, staying up, working day and night, figuring out the market shift, these new systems, not just this, like what's going on in the industry. Last night, I didn't get to bed till 4 o'clock in the morning. You know what I was working on? New content to fix the bottom of this funnel here, because like things needed. And so, yeah, we're making changes. And so at the end of the day, it's my fault. And so it's not them because they're delivering. It's not Gary's fault. He's doing what he needs to do for the most part. And looking at things and solving it. So it's my problem. You know what I mean? It's me and it's my business. And so I can't ask somebody else to figure this out for me while I'm in bed sleeping or whatever. It's my business. I want it to happen. I got to get up, stay up, put in the work so I can show you guys how it's done. You know what I mean? So hopefully that answered your question in terms of the money. So Lauren, go ahead, fire your questions away. Michael, I don't know if I'm going to let you ask questions on this one. We'll see how much time we got because we're going to be running over and I want to be respectful to Josh's time. How much time you got, Josh?
Fine.
Okay, you're fine on time. Okay, cool. We might let you get in on the back end, Michael. We're up against time if he had time. It sounds like he does. But Lauren, fire away.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
We're starting with what's your favorite color? No. In terms of data, all right. So you said you're plugging people into Mojo. Where are you getting your data from? Your contact information of these agents?
Great question. So I bought it from a nationwide company. I have every state. I'm trying to remember the name of the company. Let me see. Real estate agent contact database, maybe. Let's see what it was. Is this it? realestateagentlist.net.
Okay, cool. And so you're plugging them in. Now, do you have a specific avatar that you're going after, a type of agent in their level of growth, or are you just sort of blasting it?
I actually try to go for newer agents because they're easier. And then I also blast it. So I do both. At first I was just kind of mass blasting. And then I realized that newer agents are just easier. They are usually not selling as much, which isn't good for, our profitability, but everyone starts somewhere,
Right.
know? So the way I look at it, I'm just doing a numbers game. My goal is to bring in 200 people. When I bring in 200 people, I'm done. I'm just going to, take some time off and say, fuck it and see what happens.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
All right. So in terms of your
lazy as hell, I'm over here talking about staying up till 5 in the morning to play the path of 2,500 people. Come on.
There you go. All right. So Josh, once you get them in there, like your value proposition, you say your intro is basically like, are you open-minded to, changing your brokerage situation? But at that point, if they say yes, where does the conversation typically go?
Great. I try to send them a video. If I sent you a video, would you watch it? That's my script. If I sent you a video, would you watch it? And they'll usually say, yes, yeah, I'd watch it if you send it to me. Or they'll say, how long is it? Or something like that. And so I don't actually send Brent's video a whole lot anymore because I do have CRM Grow also. And I like that you can track how much the videos they watch and when they watch it. And just no one was getting through Brent's video.
Right.
They weren't making it anywhere near 30 minutes. And so CRM Grow has their own built-in video, which is 9 minutes long. And that one, I'm getting people to watch all the way through a lot more often. And so I started using their 9-minute video. And so I get them to watch the video and schedule a call. This is where my ball kind of drops, honestly. My follow-up game kind of sucks. I put them in a text message drip campaign. I put them on a book of the month club. So once a month, they get a text message about my recommended book of the month. And at the bottom, it has my name -EXP Realty. That's all that text message blast does is give them a book of the month. And that way they never unsubscribe from it. It's just a book of the month. And then the other campaign is information about EXP. And quite frankly, I've talked to so many people that I'm not doing any more follow up. If they reach back out, great. If not, I drop the ball.
Gotcha.
So it's at that point, it's almost left up to them. I show them a video. I talk to them. On my Calendly accounts, whenever anyone sets up a call with me, they are asked to watch. I actually have 4 videos in there. So it's like, so you know, thanks for scheduling a call. Please watch these videos before our call. And I have them in order. I put that 9-minute video first because that's the one they're more likely to get through. And then Brent's video is in there as well. Sometimes people will get through multiple videos, but I have 4 videos in them for them to watch before a call with me. So anytime I get someone on a Calendly link, they're getting the videos to watch.
Okay. And what's the conversation typically after they watch the video, at least the 9-minute video? I know it could be, I mean, it's good because it's short, but it's also pretty dry.
Yeah.
What type of conversations are you having?
I ask them, you say, did you get a chance to check out that video? Oh, yeah, you did. Great. What were your big takeaways? What'd you like best? What'd you like least? And at that point, I do kind of take it organically. You know, it's, and yeah, there'll be a recording.
This is why, guys, when we talk about Brent stuff and Brent being like, man, it's just an army of people like we've been building. Like, I'm just like on his second level, and you think like I got 2,500 people. He's got like 1,200. How many people has watched that video that even joined? So it's kind of saturated. People want to hear a new voice, a new story, something
Right.
like shorter. Something shorter, I agree with, but also I have some content that I'm going to send Gary. It's like if you're telling them it's short and you're having that short conversation and there's no value, or it's like and we're not actually selling it, it's like then like they're not going to watch it. But then if they're watching it or they've seen it, or it's like it's not, there's no, it's like it's different, right, than what it was a few years ago. But this is why bringing back the webinar on Thursdays or something like that is what Gary and I is going to test for our business. I know during the sprint series, I did it for you guys and everybody loved it in the network. They're like, dude, like you got a hell of a story. You like, we love it. Keep it going. I was like, I can't keep it going, but we're going to bring it back again. And I will tell you, whenever we bring it back, we grow and we get a bump in numbers when I'm presenting live every Thursday. So just imagine if the 9-minute video, or if you had an option to send them to one of your partners presenting on Thursday, right? Baked in with some of our other stuff. And so it's going to be a little different than what it was before. We're going to get a bump off of that, right? And that's what we need. We need a fresher voice. We need something different. We also need something live, something like a value that we believe in to send them to it. Because when I sent when I sent Brent's video, I believe in that value and I believe in that partnership. Look, if you can't give up 30 minutes of your time to something that's going to change your life, and oh, by the way, your hair is going to be on fire and you're not going to be able to sleep at night, and then you're going to be binge watching a bunch of other videos on YouTube afterwards, then maybe this isn't for you, right? Like if we have to really sell them on to watch a video, it's like that's not where we should be, I think, in the conversation, you know.
Sure, but to that point, Adam, I think you need to get them interested in the first place and to ignite that fire, that spark, and then they go down that rabbit hole. I mean, Josh, you find that that's really
I think to ask a better question then at that point would be, what are you asking to create that spark, is what I'm saying, Lauren. It's like, yeah, it's like, what are you doing to build the relationship? Like Josh just told you how he builds relationships. And when you sent me that message last night or yesterday on Messenger, and I responded back to you, and it was through Google Voice, so it kind of messed the end up.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand it grammatically.
It's like you're overthinking it, and it's like, just build relationships, build new friendships, right? And sure. and start there. Like it's freaking people out when they're like on these calls with me. And they're like, what is the purpose? There's no purpose. I believe in the law of reciprocity, and I'm willing to help you do what you need to do and not ask for anything for return. My business is big enough. I can do whatever I want. And it's like, I'm not confined by time or money or whatever. So it's like, if I'm on this mission to make more friends, help more people, and if you come and you feel like we're a good fit and you join, fantastic. And if you don't, and I still helped you and spent all this time with you, it doesn't bother me one way, because my business is still going to keep growing. My business is still going to keep making money because I built all of this on that same principle. Even before I was with EXP, that I led with the law of contribution, reciprocity, all of that stuff. That's how my coaching company got started. That's how Inside Sales Experts was built. Like I was doing the live calls and showing people what we were doing before the coaching company got started. It just came to a point where, in terms of bandwidth, the time, and the value exchange of attention, I needed to charge something and hire some coaches and stuff like that. And so I would ask you, Lauren, like, tell Josh what you're doing, and maybe he can make some modifications to that, because you're asking what he's doing. He's building real relationships and staying in touch. And then when it's like the right time to bring that up, he brings it up. So tell him like kind of what you're doing or what you like been doing and what's not working
that I've been able to get. So it's like, let me find people, in this area at this brokerage, and going one by one and looking for my avatar of newer kind of agents, kind of grow in the growth mode from like, they've done maybe 4, 5, 6 deals. They want to get to the next level. So the conversation is based around, do you want to create a relationship network, and possibly throw referrals back and forth and all that, and then we get into the conversation of what their business is all about. But the bottom line is it hasn't been working, which is why to see someone like Josh, you've been killing it, and you have experience with KW and with this. I'd love to know more about that. And again, this is just my brain because I have my YouTube channel where I interview agents. I'm good at asking questions, so let me ask rather than tell, because that way we'll get more value out of it, I think. Are you cool with that, Josh? Is that cool with you?
I'm fine with that.
All right, awesome. So just getting back into kind of our whole thing, what do you find agents are really focusing on? Is there one particular or two particular things, especially with the newer agents that they're talking about? Like, are they concerned with their
newer
business?
Agents are always looking for the same things. They want support, training, and leads. And so that's where and leads is where I hit them with value personally. So support, I actually just made a YouTube video yesterday on the support systems that EXP has. And so I can send them information. I have it all kind of compiled. So you get, you have, I call us coaches. You get 7 coaches in your upline, right? We have the onboarding support now. There you can call, text, email onboarding support. There's over 400 people on staff. You've got the EXP role where you can talk to a broker within minutes instead of at other brokerages. It could take hours, if not days, stuff like that. Training, we got 80 plus live hours a week of classes through EXP. And then our network has live classes as well, private classes that you can't get anywhere else from some of the highest producing agents in the country.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. So that's kind of what he said he was doing, making friends, figuring out what's going on in their business, to exchange some referrals, right? Referral business, and then trying to figure out a constraint. So like you're trying to figure out where you could add value off the training offered inside of the cloud. It sounds like, right? Mix and match it.
Yeah, and then I'm also like just recently I've started focusing on leads, and so I know how to get leads. Like I have no issue with that. If I want to, I sell about 20 million a year.
Hold on,
like online, is that online leads, or what type of leads are you focusing on typically when you talk to them?
So there's 6 lead sources that I'm familiar with and can train on really well. Open houses, online leads, referrals, social media, rentals, and what's the last one? I'm missing something.
Magical unicorn leads.
Cold calling.
There you go. Yeah. Cool.
That's your 6, right?
So what are you doing with the calendar? So do you have the calendar up and it's just reoccurring like I have it, and then you're just seeing what's coming up for the week, or are you shooting videos on what's coming, what training's coming up, and you kind of know their problem and sending a specific video about the up and coming training to them, or like how are you relaying that information in real life time?
I'm not doing anything like that yet, and that's a good idea, honestly.
Right.
So I'm relaying the information verbally.
Okay.
Like I'm saying we have this stuff, and I'm not necessarily showing it to them, except I did make a video that is like a combination, kind of an EXP explained combined with what Top Agent Experts offers, and what Tyranny offers, and then what I offer as well. And so I've kind of like compiled it. So you've got a combo of EXP with the network. Like I go into like, oh, these are the classes. Here's the calendar of classes EXP. Here's the calendar of classes at Top Agent Experts. And then so that it's kind of like showing it on top of each other. So I did make a video recently with that, and I've been using that lately with people to try and see if they want to join my team per se. And the other thing I do is I do have a team, like a a traditional team, and I'm always hiring for that traditional team. And so that sometimes I'll put them on a split, and I'll tell them, hey, look, I'll pay for everything. We'll just do a split. And I'm an open books team. I'm not the golden handcuff team like you got at KW, where people don't know where the leads come from, and their goal is to keep them on the team for as long as possible and take a 50-50 split. My goal is to get you off the team and to create your own team. And so you're going to see where all the leads come from, how much they cost, and be able to make that decision on your own as far as when it makes sense to branch out on your own. And so by doing that, I feel like I'm getting people's trust. I try anything and everything. I'm really ADD. And so I'll have like an idea and I'll just go with it and see what happens. And so like right now, like even during this whole conversation, my whole brain is spinning about other crap. And so like you're talking about Canada, and I'm thinking about this agent I'm talking to on TikTok that lives in Canada. And I haven't said anything about EXP yet. We've just been having a private message conversation, back and forth for a while. And I'm waiting. I'm trying to figure out what to say, essentially. Like, how do I breach the subject? Do I say, have you explored your brokerage options? But I don't know anything about Canada. And now I just learned something new. You said that they do a 95-5 split. So what are you currently doing to your Canadians? How are you approaching, what's the big, I guess, pull? But
I'll fill you in later on what I'm doing, but there's a handful of them on here right now. So maybe they can tell you, and then you guys can have that value of exchange. And then I can spend time with you later, show you what I've done and what I did to get that market going and what I'm currently doing. But I'm trying to bring value here for these guys to tell.
I'll ask you privately later. Don't worry.
Yeah, give me a call anytime, and we'll talk about how it all works up here and how the businesses are typically run and the types of objections we run into and that type of thing. Great, cool.
But so I will say, Lauren, that I don't take that position of value approach. I'm more direct.
Yeah, I like that because it wastes less time.
Yeah, it's kind of like the two FSBO scripts. You got the one FSBO script is, hey, I got buyers searching your area. Can I come check out your house and see if it makes sense? Which is just a waste of time. Or the, hey, I'm going to make you more money. If we work with me, will we make more money? And if they agree to that meeting, which happens a lot less often, you close it more. Whereas the other meeting might be easier to score. Like they might be willing to talk to you about value and all that crap, but you could be wasting a lot of time. Whereas if I'm straight to the point and say, hey, are you open-minded about your brokerage options? And they say yes, boom, I'm in. If they say no, next. And there's gonna be a lot of no's, tons of them.
And what have you found so far is sort of the life cycle of the funnel? Have you found, because you've been doing it for a little while now and you've been seeing some success, I mean, how long does it typically take to move them from that conversation? Yeah. Hey, Steven Durant, you're making a lot of noise. If you can mute yourself. Thanks, brother. Steve?
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, no worries.
It came off mute.
So I've only been at EXP for 1 year. Keep that in mind, okay? And so I don't have any over 1 year funnel closes, essentially. And so but I have had people that I spoke to almost a year ago just sign up. And I've also had people where I speak to and they're like, okay, cool. And then I get an email in like 2 hours that someone just named me a sponsor. So it's everything in between. And so I actually just had someone reach out this morning, and I was looking at, this was a Facebook lead. And I need to call him because I was talking to him, I guess it wasn't that long ago. This was 3 months ago. And so you want to hear my conversation with him just as an example?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's really pretty basic. So I don't know if I think he added me on Facebook. I don't know if I made a post or whatever, but he added me as a friend, and I accepted it. And I said, hey, James. And he said, hey, Josh, how are you doing this morning? I said, can't complain, just trying to be productive. He said, same here. Well, I have you very interested in the EXP Realty group. So he actually straight up said he was interested in EXP. And would like to set up a Zoom meeting or possibly be able to set an in-person meeting and be able to talk about EXP. And I said, I have some free time right now if you want to hop on a Zoom. And so I sent him a Zoom link. And
do you think a post triggered that, a specific post that you put somewhere?
Yeah, I'm very active on social media.
But tying it into that date, like, was there something that you put on your channel or somewhere else? No,
it was probably on someone else's post. I comment on other people's posts. I try to do some sort of a hook. something a little bit different. Like when someone asks about EXP, everyone's like, oh yeah, it's great, or yeah, you should talk to me, or this or that.
Right.
Sometimes I'll post something just off the wall different, and
Like
I'll
what?
have
Give
people
an
that
example.
weren't even the poster. I don't know. Let me see if I can figure out.
Because we've all seen those threads that turn into monsters and people
They turn into
attacking you and
monsters.
other people like, oh, join me, and it becomes a complete nightmare. But if you can break through that noise,
Yeah, that's the trick, and it's almost like a test. Like I never post the same thing, which is probably not the best thing. You should be posting the same thing or something slightly different to tweak it and test it, right? I don't do very well in testing. I just post something. It's I shoot to score. If you don't shoot, you don't score. So I'm always like posting something, but I'll try to post something different. Like maybe it was recently someone posted, hey, should I join Real or Fathom? And I commented, I just had 2 agents join EXP from Real. Happy to tell you why. And that was just a little bit different, right? Or sometimes people talk about lead sources or whatever, and I'll say I have 15 different lead sources that I provide my network if you'd like to learn more for free or something like that. So just
I have a
different
question
stuff.
regarding that then, because then the conversation, when you're going down the funnel, you talk to the agents, and these are all the things that you kind of EXP provides, Top Agent Expert provides. When you bring them in, have you focused on retention, and how are you sort of staying
Yeah.
true to your promises? Like what are you
Yeah.
focusing on there?
That's my current focus is retention and production. So because I bring in a lot of newer agents, I do have to help them, which sucks to put it bluntly. You got some agents that are really needy, and I from the beginning I'm like, hey, here's my cell, reach out to me anytime. But now I'm like, hey, we got to get some other support systems in here because this is getting daunting whenever you're calling me all the time. The worst is whenever I put them all on mentors. I try to get them on mentors if they're brand new, and if they fire their mentor and they start blowing me up, I'm like, fuck, I don't want to deal with contracts. And so I try to be very upfront. Hey, you're going to meet a lot of people at EXP. Everyone's going to help you with something different. I would love to help you with leads. I don't want to help with contracts or anything else.
Right.
Leads. If you have a problem with business, you want more business, I want you to call me. I want you to text me. I want you to reach out to me. We can schedule a call, a coaching call, and figure out how to increase your lead flow, because that's what I focus on is leads.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Good tip. Now, when you're talking to people, are you typically focusing in your particular state, or are
No,
you all over the place? So, people out of state, do they have concerns with joining somebody that's not anywhere near them?
sometimes they do. In
Okay.
fact, I've definitely lost some, and I think it was because I wasn't local.
Okay.
I had people that I talked to for a long time, and then all of a sudden they ghost me, and then I see a month later their profile changed to EXP, and it's like, all right, cool. I guess you
That's
chose someone.
frustrating.
Um, I've
Are-
had people that were like really excited, and then they just didn't join for whatever reason.
yeah,
Uh,
we've all had those, I think, for
yeah.
sure.
Now
All right.
with
Is there anything that like?
outbound calls, I was focusing mostly on my state.
Okay.
um, which is why if you look at where my people are, they're mostly in Texas, um, and also because I bring people in my team. So when I bring someone to my team, I'm hiring from outside the brokerage. I put them through the team, and then people leave the team naturally. When they leave the team, they're still at the brokerage.
So, are you using a similar method of recruitment when you're recruiting people to your team directly, or is
So
it
with the
different?
team directly, you have a few more options that you don't have outside of EXP. So I use a program called Wise Agent. I'd be happy to share with you. In fact, I'll share this with everybody because
Wise
I
Agent,
get
like the CRM Wise Agent?
no, 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 no. Here, what's your email?
Lauren at laurencooper.com, spelt like it is on the screen.
All right, hold on one second. For some reason, it's not showing.
Josh, you can also drop it in the chat box for.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see
click
it.
the chat box and everyone can
Hey,
see.
yeah, just drop it in there.
Lauren Cooper at where? At
Lauren,
.com?
it's Lauren at laurencooper.com.
Okay, cool. I just sent you a referral. So a Wise Hire, not Wise Agent, Wise Hire
Wise
is
Hire, gotcha, yeah.
it's like a
run,
hiring
we,
dashboard.
we run it. It's a couple $100 a month.
Yeah, it
Okay.
ain't cheap. It
Yeah,
ain't cheap at all.
it's not cheap, but you got to definitely use it.
Yeah, it sucks. So I use it for hiring for the team, and
Okay.
I wouldn't use it for just first off, you're not allowed to use it for just hiring at EXP.
Right.
You're not allowed to post to job boards for just recruiting, but you are allowed to post to job boards for hiring for your team, and that's going to get local people and people to join your team locally, that you would split with, right? And so it's okay to spend a little bit more money on those people because you're splitting with them. You're not just getting 3%, you're getting at least 25%.
Right.
Because these aren't, although it gets you a ton, like this is definitely the best hiring platform I've used. I just opened up my dashboard and I'm currently spending $200 a month plus $200 a month. So I'm spending $400 a month. And I have almost 100 applicants that probably came over the last month. And what's the problem is you get a lot of people that are unlicensed, or a lot of people
that's the funnel. That is the funnel. It's all new agents or just getting their license or about to get their license, or
right.
They want to roll on the team. And so that is the funnel for it.
But people that are at there's some really weird ones that come through. I've had people like heavy hitters, honestly. I'm like, what the heck are you doing? And like they have teams in other states. And I'm like, why did you apply to my job posts? I'll talk to you. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to do it. But as soon as a lot of people don't realize what they're applying for. I think that the job posts might be a little bit deceptive. And I don't put EXP in my job post because I don't want to limit that. If someone sees that, maybe they don't want to. Whereas I at least want the opportunity to share what I'm offering as a team outside of EXP. Because the team, you got to join EXP to join the team. But if I can sell them on the team and then be like, oh, by the way, we're under the EXP umbrella. Are you familiar? If they've already got excited about joining the team and you're like, okay, this is how the team works. This is how you're going to get leads, you get admin support, you get, a small split with the brokerage, and that brokerage is EXP, and here's some benefits they have. So I do that for hiring for the team. Like right now I have ads running in Boca Raton, Florida, because that's where I'm moving to. And so, by the way, if anyone has any referrals out Southeast Florida,
my cousin just moved around there. So in the future,
really? Nice. Yeah, I'm trying to get a team along the whole coast from Miami all the way up to Palm Beach.
Oh, beautiful.
And so that's my goal, is to just get the whole strip, agents across the strip, and be able to handle business down there.
Beautiful. Well, I think that's good. Is there anything that I kind of missed that, there's no such thing as...
Here's my agent attraction sources. Okay.
Right.
We have outbound calls, social media. I'm using Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I think I actually like TikTok best. And the reason for that is I think it's newer. And for whatever reason, I have a lot of conversations going on with agents on TikTok.
Are you reaching out to agents on TikTok, or are they reaching out to you on your comment or your content?
Both. So once we have a mutual match, the only thing I don't like about it is you both have to follow each other to talk. So I'm making content and I'm following other agents that are making content, and then whenever they follow me back, we can talk. And some of the agents seem more interested in talking to me than other agents. And at first, I was just blasting out, it's like a blast message, a copy paste, And now I'm just interacting, and I'm kind of like taking my time interacting with these agents, and I'm trying to plan how I'm going to transition it, because I got quite a few I'm interacting with right now. Instagram, similar concept. I watched GoGo's training. I don't know if you've watched that.
Right. Yeah.
It was Instagram, and her husband was outbound PMing people on Instagram. Although they didn't, I was trying to find out his exact script, what he was saying, and I don't think they told us, which was annoying, but whatever. Maybe they didn't have an exact script. Maybe it's kind of like me, where he just says something random every time, and they didn't really have a system for it, which is quite possible if you're if you're just messaging people over and over and over. I mean, there's millions of people on Instagram.
Sure.
And although copy paste is a lot faster, maybe you're just doing like 5 a day or something. I don't know what they're doing. But either way, you can message people there. Facebook, same concept. You can message people. They're more friendly, so you got to be a little careful with what you say. The whole concept's the same. Find someone open-minded to watch a video.
But you're starting those social conversations fairly, generically. You're not really bringing up EXP off the bat. If and when it gets to that is when you start rolling there, right?
Yeah, because sometimes they'll bring it up first. In fact, I was sponsored by Paul through Instagram. I've never met Paul, and I reached out to him to try to recruit him to KW. And 3 years later, I joined EXP.
There you go.
And he wasn't even the agent following up with me the most. There was, I would say, 3 or 4 EXP agents courting me, and one of them got really mad when I joined.
That usually happens, yeah. But Paul's the best dressed, so that's why you went with him.
Yeah, it didn't hurt that I'm very like that. When something happens in my head, it just happens, right?
Right.
And so it was like 8 p.m. and I was like, "Fuck KW, I'm going to EXP." And then I was like, "Who am I naming as sponsor?" And I was like, I'm thinking in my head who I know that is at EXP. I'm like, oh, there was that one guy that was really nice. We met and had coffee, and he was making at that time he had just broken like 10K a month in revenue share, and he was real open books and seemed really cool, but I don't remember his name, and he's not texting me anymore. And so I would have named him, honestly. I don't remember his name. I don't know his name. That's who I would have named, was this guy that I met with in person, and but I lost contact with him. Then I had Sean Corbett that was blowing me up with fucking text messages for ages, and he put me into a conference room with a bunch of other people and hammered shit down my throat, so I wasn't going to join with him. And Paul, looking back, was the only one that did Brent's system. Paul got me on a 3-way FaceTime with Brent after I watched Brent's movie.
There you go.
And all those 3 years prior, he was still on Instagram as my friend. And if you guys follow Paul on Instagram, he is always posting stories about EXP, and just like, that's how I knew him. I was like, oh, Paul's the guy at EXP on my Instagram. And so I was like, I'll name Paul. He seems cool. Whoever I name is about to get $1 million.
Imagine that the person that followed the system got the business. I love it, man. Dude, I like it. Gosh, do you have a little more time? Cause you take any more questions? Lauren, was that it?
I have a couple more quick ones to follow up. So on the conversations that you're having with these leads, whether they're outbound or inbound, when you do get them, are they on the phone or are they over Zoom?
Both. I do both. So I have a Zoom Calendly and a phone Calendly, and it really just depends on who it is, where they came from, and if I have never spoken to them, I try to get them on a phone call. If it's social media, I try to get them on a Zoom, because we're already having a text message conversation. The phone conversation is usually like the intro, and then Zoom. I've actually experimented with the Zoom video. Like I'll get them on. What I like about Zoom is I can get them on a Zoom call and I'll ask them, hey, did you get a chance to check out that video? If they say no, I can literally share screen, push play, mute, turn off my camera, and go get something to drink. And and then let them, oh, you got to check it out. And then let me pull it up for you. There we go. All right, it's playing. Okay, check it out. And then I'll mute myself, turn my camera off, set a timer for 9 minutes, and go dick off. And then do some other stuff, multitask, and then come back. I usually pop back about 8 minutes in, and see if they're, and after they watch it, then we continue the conversation.
So the sign up process at that point, are you taking them and holding their hand and be like, let's go to this?
So I send them an email. So after our, what do you call it? Presentation call, whether that's on the phone or whether it's on Zoom, after I've presented essentially the call to action, or after I've given them my spiel and they hopefully are interested, whether they're going to join now or in the future, they will get a text message with my contact card. So I share my contact card, and I send them an email with instructions on how to join and how to find me a sponsor. So I'll send them an email, and my email says something like, it was great chatting with you today. Here's some more videos, and here's the PDF slideshow on EXP if you need a refresher, if you'd like to learn a little bit more about the company. When you join, I don't say if you join, I say when you join, just simply go to join.exprealty.com, and the sponsor section, you'll be able to find me by my phone number, because you can't find me by my name, which is a freaking monstrosity on its own. I don't know if anyone can help me figure that out. I have been on support with that And if someone goes to choose me as sponsor and they type my name in, I don't pop up. They type in my last name, I don't pop up.
That's strange.
It's really annoying, trust me. And because I'm looking at moving states, which means I'm looking at getting another phone number, and now it's going to be extra complicated. So that's probably the biggest nervous thing I have about moving states, is that I want a phone number of that local area, and I want people to find me by name when they search for me by sponsor. I don't have a common name. It shouldn't be complicated. If they type my name in exactly, I'm not anywhere. I've searched for pages on pages. If they type just my last name, there's only one result, and it's not me. So that's kind of frustrating. But they can find me with my email or with my phone number. But yeah, they get an email with instructions, and I say, name me a sponsor, and this is how you find me a sponsor. And then I tell them, I'll send them the onboarding guide, and this is where it gets a little bit. I've lost people during onboarding. I've lost at least 5 people during onboarding. I lost a fucking whale last week because of onboarding. He had 8 listings to bring over, and I lost him because we couldn't get him onboarded fast enough. And he said, "Fuck it, I'm going back to KW."
Wow.
And he was stuck in prospecting, like the prospecting dashboard for a little while, and then and he was like, I tried, I needed to get my team name set up and this, that, and the other, and I can't get. He didn't like EXP World, which is a problem, so he couldn't get support through EXP World. He just joined, and it's like when people first join, I feel like there's a missing link. I remember that when I joined. When I joined, I was like, okay, now what? And all you get are emails, and
right.
I don't know if you know what my email box looks like, but it's fucking crazy. And so finding those emails whenever you get 20 to 50 emails a day already is daunting. And there's not the onboarding support through EXP needs major work. I mean, I've tried calling it, and they're like, sometimes they'll be like, I don't know. Like, you have a very specific question, like, oh, you have to ask the broker, and because there's a nationwide company and a state, and it's not like, hello, they're not connected.
Maybe Brenda.
Here's what I will say to that, Josh. It was devastating, man. Whenever you lose someone, for sure. Like, I was a 5,400 agent, and we were losing ballers and couldn't get people live for a month, right? And then for the people I was around that remember Trent, we were consulting with them, helping them with onboarding. It's light years ahead of where it was at, without a doubt. And they needed to build a more of a concierge department with that. And so that's
what it needs, man.
It's in beta right now. It's live right now. And they're showing you how many calls they're taking, the solutions to it versus what they were doing before. Right. And so
who's doing it in beta? EXP?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yep.
Good.
They rolled it out at the last sprint series. They talked about all that stuff. And
I remember them talking about it. I asked if I could get access.
It's live. Well, they're not gonna roll it out and tell the company yet until they have it all dialed in. But it is running right now. So
who has access to that? Who's it running?
It could be tested in certain states. I don't know the other states, but you think Texas will be one of them that they would want to test in, because Florida and Texas are the biggest states agent count wise. So
yeah, I mean, you have some pull. If you can get me access to that, that'd be awesome. Because I have a lot of agents.
Not necessarily us having access to it. It's a different client or experience from an agent standpoint, where there's a number they can call now. And it's like, you couldn't even call a number before, really. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that number is
like when you're onboarding as an onboarding agent, right?
There's a new number. Yeah.
Right. And before, they didn't have the team specialist and just the concierge person. Now they have structure for us to work in. So what I can get you is the person that services that region, because we didn't have somebody that service that. Remember Sam Rodriguez, guys? Like, I did all the deals with him, and then eventually they brought 4 more people in. And then, then they kind of broke it down to 2 again. And it's like 2 people cannot take care of all of this, guys, in terms of, and it's like, well, it's automated, and it might be automated and it's fine. But at the end of the day, what happens if that goes to clutter and their team's got, 10 listings and we need to get them live? Like, there's got to be an emergency number to someone that can give us
right.
Yeah. So I agree with you, but it's light years of where it's at. Josh, let me give you some feedback of how I dealt with this with my group, with people that were in business with me. It's just like a listing appointment, right? If you don't set expectations with the process, you're going to run into problems down the road, right? With them.
Yeah.
And so during onboarding, I tell people it's going to take you a couple weeks to get live, and whether you like it or I like it or not, there's a couple thousand people onboarding right now, and you're going to go get in line with the rest of them and automate, and onboarding is automated. Right. And so,
but see, it doesn't have to be like that. I onboarded in 24 hours.
I know. Here's what I'm telling you though. I would rather tell them, because that's how long it used to take up until a year ago. Like that's my 4th year, right? So I worked in this model for 2.5 years where it took sometimes a month to get you live, right? And then they dropped it down to a couple weeks. And I still say a couple weeks because if they get live in a couple days, right, they're going to build your tech. They're going to get everything up and going. Don't tell your brokerage yet, but we can start working on the back end things. They'll start building your tech, and then they will be able to get you to the launching pad. And then when they tell you you're ready to go live, you have like 45 or 60 days before they cycle you out of the system. So you're in control and can move those listings over and move all your agents over versus waiting around or things not being able to upload in MLS or getting locked out of it or whatever your team lead decides to do, right? And then when they get live in 1 week or 2 days or 1 day or 10 days, it's not 14 days. So anything, that is before a couple weeks is a blessing to them. So set the expectation.
You have Brenda helping you out, but have you looked at?
No, she helps you out too. So you're part of the group. She helps top agent experts out, the full company.
She does a class, like an onboarding class.
No, you submit the stuff to her and she does more than a class. She is taking she's taking your people and she's an onboarding specialist for our group that works back with corporates, onboarding specialists to make sure it's a good experience. It's not a class. A class is doing the pre-class and the tour and all that stuff. But
how do we get?
So
I feel like you showed me one.
She rolled out the new system that got rolled out this week with us. She did a video on it. We talked about it on our Thursday calls, which are these calls right here. And there's a website that we've created specifically for onboarding that's tied back with corporate, so she can monitor it and help you guys and be proactive. So anyone that you have onboarding, you need to get with them, get them connected with Brenda. And Brenda is our onboarding specialist that works for Top Agent Experts, right?
What's the best way to connect a new agent with her?
Just send her a message on Facebook. She's responsive. She's the one to post all of her links. She's the one who gets all of her agents live. I would tell you since I started setting expectations and I got my partners setting expectations a couple of years ago, onboarding not been a problem because I actually say it's the worst thing about EXP, but once you're in, it's a totally different experience. But it sucks, and I'm gonna
add her to my. Because when someone joins, they get like a
right.
I have a Google Drive that I've created or a document.
We got all of that stuff already built out, man, and we just even upgraded the system, and it went live like a couple weeks ago or last week.
Well, why not see what you've got in your drive, Josh, different from what we've got in the group, and then you can amalgamate it and we can all put it together.
I'll show you mine right now. Here, look, this is mine. So this is what I send out. So when someone joins, I have them, they get this. It's kind of like a one-stop shop is what I've tried to make it, because everyone, like, the group has stuff, but it's like, where is the stuff? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like giving the information to someone new.
Yeah, you guys need to be using the actual the reference sheet that has all this stuff already built into it from EXP.
Where is that?
I'll send it to you, but let me get it to you. But what Brenda is going to do, it's not just this form. What Brenda is doing is taking your person and getting them exactly what they need for their business, because it is overwhelming, like what you're saying. But what you need, Josh, might be different than what I need when I'm onboarding. And so Brenda is also quarterbacking it and telling them, you need to go here because you need KB core training. Here's where it's at. Oh, you need to be on, you're only here for building an empire stuff. Here's when Adam is live. Oh, here's this and that. So she's basically, obviously the onboarding stuff to make sure they're getting live, and they're, she's doing the tours with them and all this stuff, even though EXP does that as well. But where do I need to be, Josh? Where do I need to be? And she will help with that. And I will send you EXP stuff, but I like this document here, how you're tying them back to the power group, the other group like that. But it's like some of the resources in terms of actually getting live and all of that stuff. I will send you that.
I started working on, I added these 3 when that dude quit. honestly. But I just added this one just
The-
now. Like, I played just now.
The thing is with setting expectations, once you get them to commit and they're filling out their application, I was like, all right, now we're going to start onboarding, right? And okay, cool. Can I break some bad news to you? And
Sure.
then they're going to be like, yeah. And then when I tell them that, and I tell them the game plan, like they'll understand it, right? And they're like, well, I was going to actually tell my broker tomorrow, so I'm glad you told me to wait. You know what I mean? But you can
Yeah.
start your application and all that. So if you could set the expectations and you control it, and with Brenda helping get these people live and where they need to get and what they need to download for their business, it will be like a breath of fresh air. But if you keep selling it like EXP is the best thing since sliced bread, and we can't even get them live in terms of whatever their perception of it is, then they're like, that's what my whole experience is going to be, and fuck EXP is what I would say too.
I think Adam's right. You definitely have to create that expectation that, you know, that it's a little bumpy to onboard, and if it's better, then great, you've exceeded expectations for sure.
Yeah.
Quick question for you: if someone, you know, that's on this call is deciding, okay, I'm ready to go, this makes sense, I'm ready to do it, what kind of like numbers can they expect in terms of like outbound calling? How many people might respond? How many people do you have to talk to get like a lead? Like, have you figured those numbers out?
Not really. So like just for outbound calling, you mean?
Sure, for outbound call, just to pick one, but I mean, it could be for social, it could be for anything.
Hold on, let me pull up my calculator. Let's see if we can figure this out.
Because this could be helpful, you know, people getting started with any kind of prospecting. You know, there's a lot of rejection. It's going to happen. So to know at least at the end of the tunnel, make this many calls, you should have roughly this many people at the end.
So with outbound calling,
sure,
one appointment every 4 hours is about what I was doing.
Okay, and how many an hour are you reaching typically?
People that I talk to?
Yeah.
10 to 20.
Okay.
So 10 to 20, basically 1 in 100 will say yes to my initial question.
Okay. There you go. That's a good conservative number.
Yeah. And that's just me just blasting it, right? Like I'd be bored. I would just turn on music and listen to music and just slam the dialer when someone answered, be like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And then they say, no, boom, music back on.
Right.
And I would actually be playing, sometimes I play video games at the same time.
Sure, why not? It's Mojo. I play guitar while I'm on Mojo for
So I'll play League of Legends, or I've been playing Team Fight Tactics. It's like a brain dead game essentially. Like there's breaks in it and like it's not quick, so I can like play this game and then all of a sudden someone's on the phone. I'm like so that's that. And then social media is going to have a higher return, much higher.
Really? Because you've created some sort of relationship, they feel like they have a connection to you.
Yeah. Because with cold calling, the return it's just because of what I'm saying. I'm not trying to build a relationship. I'm just
right.
You guys, do you want to talk or no? And they don't want to talk. Most of them don't want to talk. And then every once in a while, someone wants to talk. And so, whereas with social media, you're building a relationship, and so you're talking to them about other stuff, and then you're gonna get them on. And then with like my network, or like what I call the referrals, which is like people your sphere of influence, that should theoretically have the highest return. I actually haven't had much luck with it, which is really annoying.
No, me neither.
I have I have 9 agents that I am courting essentially. They know I'm at EXP. They know I want them to come to EXP. And I had one, I thought I got him like right when I switched to EXP, he's like, hey, I've been talking about EXP. I want to come over. And if I come over, I'm coming under you. And we had lunch a couple times, and then he switched brokerage. He just moved from one KW office to a different KW office. And his frustration was the office issue. So like at KW, he gets a free office,
right.
The top producers often get like a free suite. And so he got a free suite. Then when he got too big, they gave him like a discount, but he liked the culture of the office. So then I was like, oh, you should come check out the Spaces office here, because we actually have a really cool office here. The Spaces offices are actually really cool. Sometimes the HQ offices are really cool. The Regis offices, for the most part, are pretty old and outdated, but the Spaces versions and the HQs are cool. So if you're lucky enough to have Spaces, is just a modern concept owned by Regis.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So there's the Regis owns Spaces, HQ, and Regis, and we get free access to all that. The Spaces one are heavier on the community workspace. Like the old school Regis is more heavy on like the private suites, and they have like really some of them are like barely have anything in the community area. Whereas the Spaces, there's like a Spaces office pretty close to me. They got 6 cubicles, 2 benches, a phone booth you can make calls out of. There's a coffee bar. There's 4 little 4 top tables, and then 2 half benches, 2 couches, 4 comfortable chairs, and like a small conference table kind of thing, all in the community area. And so that's like a really nice office to have someone tour. And then I've had other people, like I had this one agent that I know personally. We went out to eat twice. He came by the office once. He still hasn't joined. I'm like, what the hell, dude? And so like they're on the hook and listening. They're open to talking, and they haven't come over. And then I had another agent that this guy not local, and I was telling him how I'm bringing a lot of new agents over, and he just wrote a book for new agents. So he wrote a book called like What You Should Have Learned in Real Estate at School but Didn't, or something like that. And he just launched it, just published it, I think. And he was talking about, coming to EXP, and I was like, you come to EXP and give that book away, to these new agents,
Right.
Kind of like KW does with the Red Book. They give that Red Book away to everybody. It costs like $2. And so it's like almost like just a physical part of the, inviting. And I've thought about writing a book too, or getting some sort of book collaboration going, where we can do something like that, because that was how KW recruited. So at KW, they would, essentially make a connection, talk about, culture, because that was a big draw, was culture. You can't compete with numbers, you can't compete with splits, but you can always compete with culture, was they're saying. And so you would compete with culture, and you would get the Red Book, and you'd write a note in it, and you'd mail it to them after the meeting. And so that was how they taught it. And then they would do the same thing with us with edifying. You would get a team leader involved. Like, oh, let's get the person whose job it is to recruit involved. And so they had the same process, this 3-step process: introduce, excite, edify, essentially.
Good. That was my follow-up question, was how was it done, and was it different when you were at KW?
Concept is similar. You find someone open-minded, you present the opportunity, and you let someone else close it.
Right.
It's the same concept as here. Now I will say we have better resources here, which by far, when it comes to presenting, they had no videos. There was no like the model video. It was just like some outdated crap paper, and the book, the real estate millionaire real estate agent was our video. Essentially, that was the book was in place of the video. I'll read this book. It was written by us, whatever.
So in terms of closing conversation, when you were at KW or at EXP, to get them like, okay, they've seen the video, you've had the conversation, what does a closing conversation sort of look and sound like?
So what do you think? You want to hop on board? You got some listings, or are they under contract? So I usually try to figure out, do they have contracts? And that's where it gets a little squirrely, is people start talking about, I have this, and my broker isn't going to let me take this. Like, I'm talking to a Berkshire agent right now, and apparently his office is fucking brutal. I was reading his ICA, and it was like, all listings that are not under contract stay with Berkshire, and you get 0. Anything under contract, we will assign to another agent, and you will get a referral fee.
Wow.
And just stuff like that. And I was like, dude, that is freaking nuts, dude. And so anyone, at some sort of nasty brokerage like that, and then I try to spin the golden handcuffs on them. I'm like, it's only going to get worse. Your production is going to go up, right? Is that what you're trying to do in this business, is grow your production? And so every day you're paying this company, X amount of dollars, and that X is going to keep getting bigger, and you're going to have a harder time leaving, and it's going to be worse. When Jeff left, he lost like $250K from Remax, right? Something like that. And it's a lot of money. If you would have left a little earlier, maybe you would save some of that money. You know, sometimes you got to look at more the long game than the short game. Yeah, today might cost you some money, but we're looking at, you know, how much money we're going to make over the next, you know, 5 years.
That's right.
You know, and so and I'm learning. I learn daily. I study the craft. I read books. I've read, you know, Building an Empire. If you haven't read that, it's a good book. I read GoPro, the 7 steps to being an expert network marketer, because this is network marketing. And then what else did I read? I listen to podcasts. Brent has a great podcast. Kyle Handy has a podcast. Both of them are focused on recruiting. Brent Grove's podcast is 100% recruiting. He interviews people that are attracting agents. And Kyle Handy talks about it a lot on his podcast. I'm always intrigued by these big social media guys. Kyle Handy, Mike Sherrard, Gogo Bethke, Chasten Miles. They're getting their agents from social media.
Right.
And my social media, they're doing it a lot of like inbound, like they're not reaching out, right? People are reaching out to them.
Exactly.
As you grow, people start reaching out to you. And I've started noticing on my YouTube, I have 1,100 followers or subscribers on YouTube. And I have finally started getting leads, inbound leads from YouTube. And I've gotten 2 solid inbound leads from YouTube where someone just reached out to me directly and said, "Hey, I saw your video on YouTube. I'd like to talk to you." And we've talked about EXP. And I was
That's
like,
awesome.
This is cool. I need to make more YouTube videos.
Exactly. See, the challenge that I've had with my YouTube stuff is that they're reaching out to me for advice on how to build their business and how to do cold calling or whatever.
That's how it starts.
Then they kind of flake off once they get what they're after, and they're off in their own little world.
And there's you got to kind of leave a little bit off the table, you know.
Yeah,
you got to leave a little bit behind the curtain still. You can't open the curtain all the way. You know, it's like, yeah, here's some lead sources that I'll share with you for free. If you join the network, we have some private sources as well.
So you're absolutely, Josh. So here's what you want to do is you want to give them about, 65, 70%, no more than 80% of what they're looking for. But that other 20% is the holy grail, right? And then get them to take another action step, like a Zoom call or something like that, just to pick the conversation back up, or like get them what they actually want. And so they're like, shit, okay. You know what I mean? It's like when you want something, it's like, you'll keep digging until you get it.
Yeah. And they can find it. Anyone that really wants something can find it. I mean, you can find almost everything for free online nowadays.
Absolutely. Richard had a question. Sorry, if you're taking people out for coffee at Starbucks, he said he takes them out. You've been out for some meals and stuff. So
yeah, I do coffee and lunch. And so I actually utilize Calendly for that as well. And so I have a coffee meeting and a lunch meeting on my Calendly. So if someone is local to me, I will invite them to coffee. If they're a heavier hitter, I'll invite them to lunch. Because at KW, they ingrained, do not take them to lunch. Do not take them to lunch. And I will say I have not scored anything from lunch. I've just scored a bunch of wasted money. And lunch is not cheap.
No.
Whereas coffee is cheap. And so their thing was coffee, always coffee. And I've done quite a few coffee meetings. And then I give them if we can't get a time really quick and easy, I'll send them a Calendly link. And my Calendly for coffee usually has a pretty good buffer, like a 30-minute buffer before and after, to make sure I can travel. And then my lunch meetings have an hour buffer before and after, to make sure I have plenty of travel time.
Right. Cool. Well, I'm out of questions now. Josh, thank you so much for sharing. Adam, if you want to step in, or anyone else, thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
Good stuff, guys. Michael, did you have a question you wanted to ask? We lost Michael, man. He couldn't hang around with somebody else asking questions, man. He had to go. I like him. Richard, if you talk to Michael, tell him to submit his questions to me, and I will forward them off to Josh. And I'm sure he'll just can maybe answer them through a quick little video recording, and I'll get them over to him if he needs to. Thank you. All right, Josh, man, I appreciate it. I knew that like we're gonna run long here. I appreciate you being able to step up and do this. When I do the Building an Empire systems or whatever, or numbers every month, and look at it, you're definitely always there, or getting at the top of the list, 2, 3, 1, or enter in the top of the list. So I appreciate you, man. And I asked who sponsored you, by the way, right?
It was Paul Martin.
Paul Martin, right? And Paul Martin sponsored Daniel, and I was asking Daniel, I'm like, man, there's this other guy down here where you're at, and I thought you were younger than what you were, by the way. Well, you know, just like people think I'm younger, but and then Daniel's like, yeah, he's on my second level or whatever. I was like, oh, that's cool. So I was like, I just talked to him for the first time the other day. So I appreciate getting to know you more.
One quick question for Gary. Gary, you posted a pre-launch with Brenda. Is that a specific day of the week? Is that every day? What is that?
Yeah, that's one of her.
So
it's on
what I'm
Tuesdays.
Yeah, here
What
what I'm
day?
gonna drop in here is some that call is on Tuesdays, but it's more than a
Tuesdays.
call.
Okay.
Mhm. Let me see if I can find it.
Ed, I pulled in over 50, about 50 my first year.
Yeah, let me see. She just posted or sent us.
Also put on there, Josh, a couple links to some onboarding material that you could probably utilize as well.
Okay.
Right underneath that post.
Yeah, I saw. I was clicking on it to see what this is. That's the group. I'll figure it out.
Are you a part of that group?
I am. Yeah. Oh, I see. I
Yeah.
have to log in.
Yep. You got to log in, get access to it.
There's an onboarding checklist. Okay, cool. I'll have to figure out some of this stuff. Yeah, I feel like I'm recreating the wheel on some of this stuff for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we're already covering that cost, the labor, like all of that stuff. And then, you know, the consistency of it. She's getting people live. And I will tell you, every single person that gets with her, they feel much better. Like I had a team of 5 onboarding that was almost backed out, and they do about 150 deals, 5 people.
Yeah.
They're coming in on my second level. Then my first level guy he doesn't attract, doesn't follow systems, that he just does whatever. He's more like an investing guy, right? Flips and does other stuff. And then he tells me after the fact on July 4th weekend, going into the weekend. And Brenda was at her son's wedding out of state or whatever on July 4th weekend, and still stepped into it. And we know corporate's closed. She can't do anything or even influence it, but at least she knew enough to help this lady get pointed in the right direction. And if that thing would have set over the weekend and I couldn't do anything, right? And it's like, and that's all Brenda does. She was able to set her down, give her some actionable items, and then everything was all right before going into Tuesday when things opened back up. She was happy and got live. But if that person wasn't there to help with that, that could have ended bad too, you know? So yeah, I think, and if you're working anyone in, guys, get them, Brenda, get them submitted. There's going to be a website where it's already up and going, where you actually, and she showed this stuff last week. And so I'll send out the video to you, Josh, if you don't know about it. And then I'll send you her documents or whatever, but you get them with her, you don't even have to worry about it, like, at all.
Yeah.
Like
I like that.
You know, it shouldn't even be anything you think about or a waste of your time, because these are problems I've had to solve for myself. And so like they inevitably are solved for you guys, because I couldn't handle more than getting 30 people live, 20 people live in the network, because I was dealing with everybody's issues, right? And now like last month was 114, the month before that 150. I don't hear about onboarding problems anymore for the people that actually follow the rules or synced into the system that we have with Brenda right now.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
All right, man. Josh, I appreciate your time. Keep up the good work. I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you, Lauren, for asking me, you know, to ask Josh a question, and then, you know, being able to think about it. And I'm like, what good would that be for me to take a question and then you answer and me pass it on to Lauren or try to make a connection? So I was like, why don't you hop on a Thursday call? We're here anyways, and, you know, speak to Lauren, and then allow me to ask you some additional questions that the group could get some value out of. So
thanks, Joe. That very much, Josh. It was great.
Yeah, no worries. Thank y'all.
All right, Lauren, appreciate you, man. Thank you for asking me about him. And what was the video that you told me about that you sent me? Because he asked what video. He wanted to know the video that you sent me that we were like, hey, do you know this guy? Or can
I don't know. It's one of your YouTube videos. It was random. Yeah. I mean, we spoke briefly before, but just so that he knew kind of who I was talking about, I just sent a video over. I don't know. I'll have to find it.
Okay.
All right, nobody. Hey, here's the thing. Keep pumping out video, guys. It works. I've like built a lot of my stuff early on because of video. I mean, I was putting video on Facebook before you could get video on Facebook. I had to upload it to YouTube, post the link on Facebook. Then we started being able to do lives and do other things. And so I'm telling you right now, people watch my videos from 4 years ago and still reach out to me on them topics. It's
Yeah.
basically like, it might not work right away, but if it's great content, it's evergreen and it is going to continuously grow, and it's doing the prospecting and the influencing for you. And so just make sure, like, I went back and added my calendar on certain things, or I sent Lauren. Lauren's like building a great YouTube channel. I like it. And it's like you have your links set up, and the way they can get a hold of you, or your websites or call to actions in the descriptions. I promise you, people are going to reach out to you. Like Josh, you said, someone finally hit you up. Keep publishing and creating and documenting, guys. I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you guys next week.
All right,
Thanks,
cool.
guys.
All right, talk to you later.
See ya.